United Airlines shares are on the move this morning, higher after swinging to a profit in the first quarter, with revenue hitting a record high of $13.2 billion. The airline also taking an unusual approach to guidance, issuing two 2025 profit forecasts. One, if the current environment remains stable, and another, if the U.S. economy enters a recession. Joining us now, we've got Mike Boyd, Boyd International Group President. Great to have you here with us. So, how are you looking at the United results right now and the reality of these two different results that they're forecasting to the street?
Well, this is very typical of United. They're so much ahead of the curve compared to so much of the other industry because they see what's happening and they're trying to react to it. And I think this United Next program they're putting together, this is why United is going to have another good quarter coming up. But the real thing that they're bringing up here is we have a air transportation system in the United States that is liable to be in real trouble by the end of the third quarter, fourth quarter, start of the fourth quarter, because we have another whole sector called the ULCC sector, like Frontier and Spirit. They got way too many airplanes. They've got a lot of nomad capacity, and they're going to be rumbling around. And I think United Airlines sees that, and they're getting prepared for that.
Mike, help me understand then how China comes into this conversation in regards to their challenge to Boeing jets being delivered. To what extent do you think that that is another potential headwind for these airlines, given some of the capacity challenges that you just talked about?
No, not at all. Look, Boeing's been cut out from China for the last 3 years. It's been one order really in the last 5 years. That's it. They still have probably 36 airplanes that weren't delivered on when the MAX mess started. So China has cut Boeing out before. I've said it before in our newsletters that Boeing's a global company. It just doesn't have much of China. So whatever China, when they made their announcement, no more deliveries, it was the equivalent of trying to put a bullet into a cadaver. It was already dead.
And so, Mike, as you're thinking about what this means in the rest of the airline industry, because there's something that United said, that Delta said, that we might hear from some of those ultra low-cost carriers as well, which is the capacity growth that's going to be rolled back now. What is your kind of best calculus that you're running around what that means for the future of flight for the rest of the year?
Well, I think we're not going to have a lot of growth. I mean, they're pulling back airplanes. The real issue here today is all the metrics look good for customers. I mean, CPI, inflation, all those happy things, they look okay. But I think the average consumer is saying, I don't want to fly as much. And also, don't kid yourself, there was so much of a government factor in what was supporting airlines. I can see where it'd be down. So a lot of this is, government issues about laying people off, getting rid of people, and cutting budgets. But the real issue is we're going to have a healthy United, a healthy American, a healthy Delta. It's that other sector that, the ULCC sector that's been trying to find a place to go with a lot of excess airplanes. They may not affect United as much as you might think, but I think for an airline industry, we could have a real bloodbath of parked airplanes on the ULCC sector, particularly, I'm sorry, but Frontier and Spirit have got to figure out what they're going to do with a lot of extra airplanes that could affect United. It might not, we don't know, but we know they're excess.
When you think about those other airlines in the context of United offering dual guidance this morning, how much of a trend-setting element do you think that puts into the room? And also, just how do you think about how United was able to issue these two different outlooks that you can see on your screen right now?
Well, they can issue it because they understand the industry a whole lot better than a lot of other airlines, and they're trying to tell the world that, hey, we can't predict whether there's going to be good weather or bad weather. That's why they have weather forecasts. Now they're going to have a financial forecast which says if X happens or Y happens, it'll be a financial front over Asia, and we won't be able to make the money we thought we could do. So the real bottom line here is, I think every other airline is going to do this probably to cover themselves, but also to tell the world that we can't tell you. And that's the good news about United Airlines, because they're on top of so many different trends out there that the other airlines have missed. Just amazing to me.
Mike, from your own evaluation, who is the best positioned airline right now? From an investor's perspective, knowing that the consumer mindset is going to shift in this near term, at least, as we're continuing to track where bookings might remain strong versus where there's going to be some weakness and pressure because of the airlines that are either most exposed to the lower end consumer or most exposed to the international consumer. There's many different ways to kind of draw the buckets of where some of these airlines are going to excel versus others are going to see a lot of headwind.
Well, I think a lot of it's what they're selling. What kind of revenue are they making from this maybe reduced capacity? Keep in mind, there is a trend toward people wanting to pay more money for things, maybe a little bit more, maybe not a lot more. But the real issue is, what can they get? Take a look at United. They have the geopolitical issues in mind. They know China's not going anywhere. It's just not going to be back to where it was 5 years ago. But we have Thailand, we have Vietnam, we have Southeast Asia. That's where they're going. They understand that, and they're going to make up the revenue. So it's not passengers, it's revenue.
All right, really great context for our viewers, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you.